Hey everybody, it's Alex, and today I'm going to go over a couple different types of microphones that I've used as overheads, just to kind of give you a comparison of what all they sound like and how little difference to me it seems like they have, but they do have a little bit of similar sound characteristics to them, so I'll let you hear the samples. The ones I'm going to go through are the AKG 214s, which are the ones that I personally own and normally use for my recording. I also had a pair of Shure SM81s, and then a pair of the Neumann KM100s with the AK40 capsule, which is just the cardioid capsule. So it's kind of the predecessor to the Neumann KM184s, which are regarded as like some of the best drum overheads as well. So just to give you a quick price comparison, the AKG 214s, those new are $399. The Shure SM81s new are $349. And the Neumann KM184s, those I believe are $849. And that's all for a single one, so you're looking at twice that if you're doing, the dual overheads with them to kind of put them above your kit. So that being said, let's jump into the sound samples and see what they sound like. All right, so first here we're going to go through just the three different microphones. As you can see, I've got them labeled up here. So this one's the Neumann KM100, the AK40 capsule. I'm just going to call the Neumann 100. The Shure SM81s, and then I have my AKG 214s. So first, I've just got these overheads soloed, so they're just panned hard left, hard right, equal volume, and I've tried to volume match these as best that I can, so there's not huge volume differences in between them. So I'll let you kind of hear a quick clip of all these real quick, and this is just kind of a full kit with just the overheads soloed. So as you can hear, those are the three samples, just played in order. It was the Neumann ones first, and then the Shure SM81s, and then the AKG 214s. So all of these, I don't have any processing going on either just my master channel. This is just a little analyzer, so that when they're playing, it's showing you the frequencies. But other than that, there's no EQ, no compression or anything on them just yet. So that's with just the microphone soloed. So in the context of the whole kit with the other direct mic, so I've got a kick, snare top, snare bottom, tom, and a floor tom. I believe this should be the Beta 52 on the kick, SM57s or 58s on the snare top, snare bottom, tom, and floor. So let's quick hear what these sound like with the rest of the microphones. So as you can hear, that's kind of what it sounds like with the full kit mic'd up, including the overheads and the direct mics. And again, that's just with everything dry. There's no processing on any of these tracks either. except I think I've inverted the phase on the snare bottom. It looks like it did do a little processing on these. All right, so the direct mics have processing on them. Overheads are all still dry though. So now what I'm going to do is I've went through each of these overheads and kind of given them their own EQs. Kept a pretty consistent high pass on here around 160 hertz or so, which is just right above where the kick drum starts to show up in the overhead. So I usually high pass that out so it gives a little bit more room for the kick mic, the direct one. And then on the master channel, I'm going to turn on some compression on here as well. I typically do on my drums bus the API 2500. I usually do up to about usually around 4 decibels of gain reduction on the peaks there on the snare hit. And then I typically have the SSL bus compressor on my master bus as well. So with those, group these real quick. So that's with the compression, and that's without the compression here. Now I'll turn it back on. So it just kind of evens out the dynamics a little bit, brings up some of the quieter parts a bit more as well. So now with those enabled, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the session and then re-enable the automation that I have on these EQs. So on each of these, I'm going to have the EQ show up, or turn on rather, once it's playing. So again, for most of these, I've just high passed them around 161 hertz, and then usually did about one, maybe 3 decibel reduction on certain area that I found kind of sticking out a little bit on each microphone. So first, here's the Neumann one with processing. This is the Shure. And lastly, the AKG. So that's with the EQ. The last thing I wanted to let you guys listen to is just on each of these, I did a pass with some more of the toms and less of the crash and ride on there. So I will turn off all the EQs on here again. And I'm just going to solo the overheads again so we can just kind of hear what they sound like by themselves. So we're going to reverse order here. First, this is the AKG 214 on the toms. Shure SM81s. And lastly, the Neumann KM100s. So as you can hear, there are a little bit of subtle differences between the three of these, but honestly this was kind of surprising for me to try out because I was expecting a lot more of a difference, especially between the Neumanns. Now granted they aren't the official KM184s, but they're still really nice microphones. And for a little over twice the price, to my ears at least, it didn't sound twice the quality difference. But again, with any of these, if you kind of know what you're doing with EQ, mic placement, and if you've got a good drum sound to begin with, you can really get a lot of these to sound, pretty nice and professional. So I guess the main thing I wanted to just get across was, hear you guys' opinions and see if, which ones you prefer or what you noticed or thought differently about specific microphones, or what your experience is with any of these. And just kind of get the point across that, you don't necessarily have to spend, especially nowadays, thousands of dollars on microphones to get studio quality recordings. I mean, you can spend, a lot less nowadays and get pretty professional sounding results, at least in my opinion, with some pretty nice gear. So that being said, let me know what you think in the comments and just, what the differences between these mics are to your ears. And I look forward to talking to you guys later. See you.